Good morning. My name is Reverend Dr. Ron Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast Sunday morning service. And if anybody is watching this morning, Sunday, or anytime during the week, if you've never been to a Center for Spiritual Living before, we believe there's one God, many paths to that God, and we're here to love, honor, and support you no matter what your divine path is. And the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast is a safe haven for people of all beliefs and lifestyles, whoever you are and wherever you may find yourself on your journey of faith. You're welcome here. To begin our service, Reverend Jenna Watkins is going to open us up with a prayer, and then Barbara Loftus is going to honor us with the spiritual reading.
I invite you all to just close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in and let it go. And turn your attention into your heart space. That space where we feel the connection to the divine love that flows in and through each and every one of us. For we are made in the image and the substance of Spirit, of God, of the Divine One. We are made in its image, an image of love and acceptance, one of joy and peace. And as we turn our attention inward to that heart space, we recognize that that is who we are. We are love, we are peace, we are joy. We are spirit expressing in human form. And we know that it is our job to express these qualities outward to each and every person we meet, outward to this community we live in and the world we share. That is our job, to just be a presence of love, of joy, and peace. And as we come together as a community in these qualities of spirit, I recognize that we nurture and support each other. And we come together today to listen to a message, an idea, a thought that will inspire us, that will go deep within our heart and help us grow even deeper in our awareness of who we truly are. I know Reverend Ron is tapped into that spirit of life and allows that spirit to flow through him, sharing with us ideas and thoughts and laughter and joy that allow us to grow together in community, whether it be our spiritual community, the greater community, or the globe. All the way around the world, our love can shine and does shine. For all of this, I do give thanks and I let it be. And so it is.
Today I have a reading from The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by a retired hospice nurse named Bronnie Ward. I'm just going to read the summary of the top 5 regrets. 1, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. It's very important to try and honor at least some of your dreams along the way. From the moment that you lose your health, it's too late. Health brings a freedom very few realize until they no longer have it. 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. By simplifying your lifestyle and making conscious choices along the way, it is possible to not need the income that you think you do. And by creating more space in your life, you become happier and more open to new opportunities, ones more suited to your new lifestyle. 3, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. We cannot control the reaction of others. However, although people may initially react when you change the way you are by speaking honestly, in the end, it raises the relationship to a whole new and healthier level. Either that or it releases the unhealthy relationship from your life. Either way, you win. 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. It all comes down to love and relationships in the end. That is all that remains in the final weeks, love and relationships. 5, I wish I had let myself be happier. When you are on your deathbed, what others think of you along the way is not important. How wonderful to be able to let go and smile again long before you are dying. Life is a choice. It is your life. Choose consciously, choose wisely, choose honestly, choose happiness.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was really perfect entree into what I want to speak about today. So I've titled it, It's Your Move. And I got the idea and the title from something I read on Reverend Jenna's Facebook page this week. So I want to read that to you as a way of opening up. And here's the quote. At the end of your life, this world will either be a more or less compassionate, loving, caring place because of your presence, your move. So I want to begin today. I want to read you a piece that I know I've read before, but after I read it, I want to tell you, I want to explain to you why this piece was written. And I don't think I've done that before. So here it is. It's titled Living Wide Open, and it's by Donna Markova. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which came to me as seed goes to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit. She wrote that the night her father died, as she puts it, with a shrug. She said his heart was hollow and vacant of dreams. He was convinced he didn't matter. I want to tell you, we all matter, each and every one of us, and we're here for a reason. You know, it takes courage to grow. It takes courage to embrace the thought that what we do makes us responsible for the life that we live. And it takes courage to do what we need to do. Stephanie Dowrick is an interfaith minister from Australia. And I have one of her books. And in the book, she tells us that we need to live encouragingly. And she says, living encouragingly is believing in your own qualities and your own strengths, and to behave in ways that express them, to trust your intuition, to let yourself be inspired, to tolerate setbacks, to learn from your mistakes, to explore your spirituality, to cultivate your passions. So that's what she's telling us. Cus D'Amato, I don't know how many of you have ever heard of him. Cus D'Amato was a boxing manager. He managed the late Floyd Patterson to the heavyweight championship, and he was the first manager of Mike Tyson. And I read that he had a sign in his gym, and this is what the sign read: a hero and a coward both feel the same thing. It's what they do that makes the difference. It's what the hero does that makes him a hero, and what the coward doesn't do that makes him a coward. You know, in the end, what we feel is not going to leave a legacy. It's what we do or we don't do that leaves the legacy. So I want to tell you a story about the Golden Buddha. And I've read, it sounds like a fable, but I've read that this is a true story. And you can go to Thailand and actually see the statue that I'm going to tell you about. So years ago, there was a statue that was built of Buddha that was huge. It was about 10 feet tall, and it was solid gold. And it was in a monastery, in a Buddhist monastery. And one day, the monks in this monastery got word that an army was marching towards the country that they were in. And they feared that if this invading army came and saw this gold statue, they would take it and take it back to their country. So they made the decision to hide it and to disguise it. And what they did, how do you disguise something that big? What they did, they covered it with mortar, with stones, and with mud. And in effect, what they did, they turned this golden statue into a cement statue. And it worked. The army went right by it, never really gave it a second look. And so now the years pass, and all of the monks that were in the monastery when this was done, they either left the monastery or they've died. And so there's nobody left that knows this original story. And one day, years and years later, a young monk was sitting by the statue reading, and he brushed up against it, and a piece of the mortar fell. And he looked, and it looked like there was something shiny underneath it. So he removed more of it. And sure enough, he saw it was more and more shiny, and he called the other monks, and they took the cement off, and they discovered that underneath all of it is a gorgeous golden Buddha. What's the point of that story? The point is there's gold within each of us, within you and me. Behind all of the facades and all of the defenses that we present to the world, there's a pure soul that's calling out within us, one that is strong, that's wise, and that's compassionate. It's the one, I bet you all know what I'm talking about, because it's the one that we've been seeking most of our life. We can hide it, but we can't destroy it. You know, the Rabbi Harold Kushner, who's written a number of wonderful books, he said that he believes it isn't the fear of death that haunts most of us. It's the fear that we won't have mattered, the fear that as far as the world is concerned, we needn't even have lived, that we miss in our lives a sense of meaning. And another rabbi, Rabbi Byron Sherwin, kind of picks up from that point. And he said, if you ask most people why their lives are meaningful, he said they'll stumble. They'll stumble for an answer. We all want to live, he said, but for what? And he wrote that the issue that supersedes all other issues is, what am I here for? The issue that supersedes all other issues is, what am I here for? You know, often we come face to face with meaning when somebody we care about dies, or we get a rotten diagnosis, or we lose a job, or there's a turning point in our life, like maybe a child getting married, or we retire, or a child moves away from home. Whatever it is, we can't escape it. At some point in our life, we all come face to face with meaning. You know, in the Talmud, it's written, if I am not for myself, who will be? If I am only for myself, who am I? And if not now, when? And it's written that the Jewish philosopher Moses Maimonides interpreted that first statement to mean no one but oneself can create the work of art that is oneself. And Rabbi Sherwin, who I alluded to before, let me tell you what he wrote about that. He said, we have the choice of being born as originals and to die as copies, or to be born as unfinished originals and to further develop that originality into a uniquely fashioned work of art. What makes us particularly human is our ability to create each of our lives as a work of art by developing the potentialities that make each of us distinct and unique. Each of us is an artist commissioned to create one great work of art during our lifetime. And that work of art is our own life. So I read a whole bunch of articles this week on how we can make a difference in the world. So I want to share with you just a summary of some of what I read. And the first one is, what we do doesn't have to be huge. You know, Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100 people, feed one. The size of what we do isn't what matters. Remember, nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. You know, another thing, we can start now. There's no right time to start. The present moment. We talk about this all the time. Eckhart Tolle has a career on that the present moment is what we have. Anne Frank wrote, how wonderful it is that nobody need to wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. We can empower other people. You know, you can change somebody's life by empowering them, and we change the world one life at a time. And one way to empower somebody is to give them praise and encouragement rather than critiquing them. And I like this one. We can stop whining and do something. Whining drains us. We can use our time more effectively, do things that will make a difference in the world, like be a role model by doing good and by inspiring. How do we inspire? We can share our secrets. We can tell people what we did to get where we are. We can give advice. We can help people believe in themselves. Ernest Holmes, who founded the Centers for Spiritual Living, said we can't guide anybody when we're in darkness. That first, we must clarify our own vision, and then we can light the way for others. So I want to read something that I read this week. It's called Lost in the World. Once a man wandered into an enchanted forest. Overwhelmed by its beauties and its delights, he continued to wander until suddenly he found himself in the midst of a dark thicket. The sun was setting and he was frightened lest he be lost in the darkness of night. Path after path that he chose only led him deeper and deeper into the labyrinth of the forest. Finally, he saw another man in the thicket. He ran to him thinking, this man can help me find my way out of the forest and into the meadow. He approached the man and begged for help. The man sighed and said, alas, I too am lost in the forest. The first man tore at his hair in despair and said, we're lost. We are truly lost. Perhaps not, said the second man. I have tried many paths to find my way out of the forest. So I assume have you. What we know is which paths lead nowhere. So let us pool our knowledge, and perhaps together we can learn from our experiences, and together find our way out of the forest and into the light. You know, to me, that says we can join together and share our dreams. And when we do, we change the world. I love the line from John Lennon's song, Imagine. You can say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. You know, again, in the Talmud, it's written that every blade of grass has an angel that hovers over it and whispers, grow, grow. Mary Morrissey says, you and I have an angel that hovers over us and says, grow, grow, become, become, become all you can be. There's something wonderful and majestic in you, something beyond all your wildest dreams. So I want to close by reading something that I wrote in my book, Experiencing the Beacon Within. And the title of this particular piece is called Living a Legacy. We all want to be remembered for what we have contributed to the lives of those around us after we're gone. That's what a legacy is all about. Most of us aren't going to change the world, but we can have an impact on the people in our life. As Mother Teresa reminds us, in this world, we cannot do great things. We can only do small things with great love. And in the end, isn't that enough? In our philosophy, we teach that we're all unique. We're not here by accident, and we each have a gift to give. If we don't give that gift, no one else can, so it's lost forever. We give our gift when we do, and when we're living the life that we were meant to express, not because of what we may receive in return. I read a story about a woman who went through many challenges in her life. Through it all, her father was at her side all the time. And here is what she wrote. When you strip everything away, all the lipstick and nail polish, what you're left with is your true self. And that, my dad showed me, was something to celebrate. That's a legacy. Here's an interesting exercise I read about that you may want to try. Imagine it's your 80th birthday. All your friends are there, and one by one, they get up to toast you. What would you like them to say? That is what you want your life to stand for. If you're happy with what you're imagining, great. If not, it's not too late to make some changes. God bless you. Thank you for being here, and have a blessed week.